Chapter 1. I was 25 when I won the Best Actress award. But I didn't want to do anything except act in movies. My lack of social skills completely offset my box office appeal, and people hated me everywhere online. Summer Ice is just lucky she got a good team. Ice? She's as tall as a man. Why didn't she audition for male roles? People thought Chloe was the one who actually deserved the Best Actress award. Chloe was soft, pale, and spoke in a sweet, high-pitched voice. She only wore limited edition luxury dresses. She always played the innocent daughter or the male lead's perfect first love. On Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, she was the definition of gentle and cute. She called her followers babes, family, and angels. I was the exact opposite. I wore plain white t-shirts, jeans, and had short hair. I talked less than an extra on a movie set. So when Chloe only got a nomination and looked down with watery, disappointed eyes, her fans lost their minds. Chloe's acting is 100 times better than that fake man Ice. The judges are blind. I feel so bad for Chloe. She works so hard and relies entirely on herself, unlike someone who has a secret backer and endless resources. Fans swarmed my social media with death threats. They doxed my childhood friends and classmates. They even sent funeral flowers to the vet clinic where my dog had surgery. I was completely done with it. I deleted all my social apps and lived like a ghost. My manager, Barbara, finally snapped. She grabbed my shoulders and shook me violently. I have never seen anyone as lazy as you. People are literally ruining your life, and you won't even hold a press conference to defend yourself. In terms of body, looks, and acting, you crush Chloe in every single way. Don't think good acting is enough to keep you employed. If your popularity keeps dropping, investors will stop hiring you. Go, Summer. Go destroy Chloe. Then she packed my bags, grabbed my dog, and threw me straight into the cast of a new survival reality show. Chapter 2. Because Squid Game had become a global phenomenon, the investors wanted to copy it. They created a celebrity survival reality show. This season's filming location was a completely abandoned high school. There were 20 contestants in total. The rules were simple. Everyone had to wear high school uniforms and sit in a classroom. The host would dress up as a teacher and give orders. Anyone who failed a task would be eliminated immediately. The last person standing would win $10 million. Most celebrities didn't care about the money. They just wanted the massive publicity. The top A-list actor, Zachary, was also on the list. Even though the baggy school uniform looked like a trash bag, it didn't ruin his looks at all. Instead, it gave him a lazy, youthful charm. Of course, compared to my sharp, androgynous look after makeup, he was slightly less striking. Chloe immediately walked over to him. She wore heavy makeup, and her uniform was unbuttoned to show a tight camisole underneath. She smiled warmly at him. "Zachary, I heard you're preparing a new movie. Could you consider me for the female lead?" On the giant TV screen hanging in the classroom, the live chat exploded. "Good job, production team. Don't show Ice. We want to see the cute girl. Chloe is so bold. I love a girl who goes for what she wants. The hardworking actress and the cold top actor? I ship them so hard." Zachary frowned. "Where did you hear that? The new movie is being shot in a completely deserted wasteland. There is no female lead. There is only a live chicken." He paused and added seriously, "Live animals are hard to control, so we might change it to a prop before we start shooting." I couldn't help but cover my mouth to hide a laugh. Chloe's face turned visibly pale. "Haha, Zachary, you're so funny." She turned around awkwardly and sat right next to me. "Summer, what a coincidence. It's been 10 years, and we're desk partners again." Chapter 3. Chloe was my high school classmate. Before she was even 16, she looked very mature and spent all her time dating the school bully. If she liked my hat, she took it. Before a date, she would grab my eye drops and use them. When homework was due, she forced me to write hers. Back then, I had just finished filming a few roles and was rushing to catch up on schoolwork, so I didn't care about those details. It was only after re-entering the industry years later and remembering it that I realized how messed up it was. My manager, Barbara, had been furious when I told her. "Summer, that is literal bullying. What other dirt does she have? Let's leak it and destroy her." I thought about it for a long time. There was a classmate named Maya. She was closer to Chloe. She might know more. Barbara's eyes had gone dark, looking disappointed. She ended the conversation by telling me I had to publicly humiliate Chloe on this show, or she would quit being my manager. So right now, I had to switch into manipulative girl mode. I had to use her own medicine against her. Over the last 20 years, I had played over 200 characters. Because I got too deep into my roles, I almost developed split personalities. Usually, I was just lazy and relaxed like a blob of jelly. But when necessary, I could switch into a completely different persona. I brushed the hair away from my forehead and smiled softly at the camera. Really? The seat next to me was always empty. I don't even remember who sat there. Chloe looked guilty. I was busy with my acting auditions back then, so I wasn't around much. Her fans instantly spammed the chat like crazy. What is ICE implying? Our Chloe was an art student. Of course she didn't have time for regular classes. Does a perfect SAT score make you better than everyone else? You didn't even go to drama school. Our Chloe graduated top of her class in performing arts. I quickly squeezed out a few tears, acting like a fragile, broken victim. How can everyone say such harsh words? Lately, I only feel heartache, but my tears seem fewer than last year. My heart just aches so deeply. Right then, the camera automatically panned over and gave me a sharp close-up. My nose was perfectly straight, and my eyelashes were long and thick. Some of the fans who only cared about looks suddenly wavered. Damn, why does Ice look so beautiful from this angle? Even though she's tall and doesn't look like a fragile little doll, why does she feel so delicate right now? Be realistic, people. She's acting. She's a literal award-winning actress. Hey, who said earlier that Ice couldn't act? Perfect. My acting worked. Zachary glanced at the screen and said coldly, if I had a perfect SAT score, I'd walk with my head high too. Then he walked right over to Chloe. Chloe and her fans were getting excited, thinking he was defending her. But Zachary just tilted his head, motioning for her to move so he could sit next to me. Let's grab dinner after the show. Do you want hot pot or barbecue? The TV screen was immediately covered in question marks and exclamation points. Is the top actor close with Ice? He's just trying to avoid drama, right? He actually likes Chloe. Exactly. Talented people are drawn to talented people. I am shipping Zachary and Chloe forever. I let out a loud burp as my response to Zachary. Bro, you only signed a marriage certificate with me because of a stupid bet. We have never actually been a real couple. You don't need to act close to me by asking me out for dinner. Zachary raised an eyebrow in annoyance. Before he could say anything else, the host dressed as a teacher walked quickly into the classroom. He announced with a smile that the competition had 3 rounds. Round 1, a written test. Chapter 4. The teacher passed out stacks of exam papers to each row and told us to pass them back. Then, he ordered everyone to hold a deep horse stance while writing at their desks. Anyone who couldn't maintain the stance until they finished the paper would fail. Wasn't this just a simple physical endurance test? I had played a martial arts master in an action movie before, and I practiced this exact stance every single day. I switched into martial artist mode, and suddenly it felt incredibly easy. The moment I looked at the paper, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. The questions printed on it were all basic math. Single-digit addition and subtraction. A minute later, Zachary and I finished almost at the same time. We walked up to the podium and handed in our papers. The teacher nodded with satisfaction. Return to your seats and wait for the exam to end. Do not disturb the other students. Zachary and I had no choice but to sit quietly side by side. This man really deserved his title as the ultimate handsome actor. Even without looking at his face, standing within 3 feet of him made me feel an intense, overwhelming male energy. It was totally dominant. It made you feel breathless. Did Chloe have the same fatal attraction for men? The two of them definitely looked like a couple on screen. But when Zachary and I stood close together, we looked more like brothers. Feeling annoyed and awkward, I looked around the room. The other contestants were still buried in their papers, writing furiously. But some of their papers were printed with things like, 1 + 2 =? And others had questions like, 252 =? A lot of old schools were built on top of ancient burial grounds to let the energy of young people suppress restless spirits. Now that the school was abandoned, the protective seal was gone. The dark entities were probably using this place as their personal playground. This first game was clearly a trial. The questions were digging out the darkest secrets in the contestants' hearts. And the punishment for failing would be something beyond human understanding. I glanced at Chloe, whose face was completely pale, and then looked at everyone else in the classroom. Even though some of them probably didn't deserve sympathy, I raised my voice so everyone could hear me. The test only lasts 10 minutes. No matter how much the questions mess with your mind, you have to write down an answer. If you refuse, fail to answer, or don't finish, you will die. The fans in the chat were shocked. How is Ice so calm? Did she get a real script? Either way, she looks totally badass. Seeing that some fans were starting to view me slightly better, I remembered my manager's words. I decided to strike while the iron was hot and spoke directly to the viewers. Honestly, I'm just used to being hated, so my mental state is strong. Next time, please just attack me. My friends and family are regular people, and they can't afford therapy. The fans went silent. Chloe bit her lip as she looked at the chat. She grabbed her paper, dragged it back to her seat, finished it in a flash, and slammed it onto the podium. Everyone else followed her lead, quickly finishing and handing in their tests. The moment the bell rang, the classroom doors slowly creaked open. Chapter 6. The contestants rushed out in a massive panic. Chloe pushed through everyone like a scared animal, forcing her way to the front of the line. But outside the classroom, there was only a thick, heavy fog. Deep inside the fog, a massive, shapeless dark shadow was looming. It didn't look human at all. Chloe froze in terror, stopping right at the threshold. Behind her, a bald contestant who was a famous comedian yelled loudly, "Are you trying to get us killed? Move out of the way. Screw this trash show. They paid me pennies and dragged me to this haunted place for the second time." Chloe quickly looked down. "I'm sorry." Knowing the camera couldn't see her face from that angle, she rolled her eyes and secretly stuck her foot out to trip him. The bald man stumbled forward, falling right out of the classroom door. The moment his body crossed the line, his massive head was cleanly severed from his neck. It rolled right into the thick fog. Blood sprayed out like a fountain. Seeing another person die, the contestants screamed bloody murder and ran back inside the room. Chloe's face was splattered with drops of blood, making her look like she was covered in dark spots. She almost fainted. But she remembered she had an image to maintain, so she quickly turned her back to the camera, wiped her face, and ran straight back to Zachary's side. Learning her lesson, she just huddled close to him, acting terrified, without doing anything else. I finally understood. Opening the door wasn't to let us out. It was to let the next teacher in. Before the entire game was finished, nobody was leaving this classroom alive. Right on cue, the dark shadow took heavy, thumping steps into the room. The thick fog slowly filled every single corner of the classroom. It was damp, sticky, and smelled completely rotten. A voice that wasn't male or female, young or old, and didn't even sound human echoed from deep within the shadow. The second game is arm wrestling. The two people who draw the same number will fight each other. A female contestant wearing a fancy lace dress let out a crazy laugh. Is the production team done playing games? Are you threatening us just for views? Believe it or not, once I get out of here, I will ruin all of you. Whoever destroys that dark shadow for me gets $1 million. She's got guts. Did she completely ignore what I just said? I whispered to Zachary. Who is she? Do you know her? Zachary looked completely blank. Why would I know her? What kind of person do you think I am? Another contestant, a young pop star named Tyler, leaned over and whispered in my ear. That actress has deep ties to organized crime. 3 days ago, she hired people to assault and disfigure the supporting actress because the girl was prettier than her. The girl couldn't handle it and... Aren't you a famous pop singer? Why are you gossiping so much? Zachary said coldly, shoving Tyler out of the way. 2 million, the lace dress actress yelled, seeing that nobody responded. She raised the price. When she hit 5 million, a massive, 6'7" stunt actor stepped forward. His knuckles popped loudly. Everyone heard her. You better keep your word. He grabbed a heavy wooden chair and slammed it toward the dark shadow. But before the chair could even touch the shadow, it violently changed direction. It smashed directly into the lace dress actress's head. The next second, the chair spun through the air again, smashing the stunt actor's own face into a bloody mess. 17 minus 2 is equal to 15. Before the second game even started, 3 more people were dead. The remaining 15 contestants could only line up and draw their numbers obediently. The numbers ran from 1 to 7, with 2 of each. A comedy actress who drew number 8 realized she didn't have a partner. She instantly sat on the floor, holding her head and crying. I drew number 6. I immediately prepared to switch into heavy lifter mode. But the next second, I saw Zachary walking through the thick fog toward me. He was holding the exact same number. My heart skipped a beat. Did this mean only one of us could survive? Chapter 7. The first time I met Zachary was 10 years ago, on the set of a thriller movie called The Death Notice. I was wearing rags for a refugee scene, my face covered in black and yellow dirt. I was drinking water and reading my lines when a large hand suddenly reached out and pressed against my forehead. I angrily pushed the hand away, only to realize that if I had taken one more step, I would have walked straight into a concrete wall. Zachary was standing right next to me, his back to the bright sunlight. He was dressed in pure white. His beautiful eyes were slightly narrowed, sparkling with light. A few bright red cherry blossom petals drifted past his face, making the air smell slightly sweet. But they weren't nearly as striking as the sharp curve of his lips. Summer Ice, are you trying to work harder than me? After that, we both got busy with school and our careers. We rarely met and only worked together 3 times. But whenever I couldn't understand a character, I would watch Zachary's movies to study his genius acting, or I would just call him directly to ask for help. Last year, when we both won our respective acting titles, I finally gathered the courage to ask him out to celebrate. That night, I drank way too much. I stood on the rooftop, tilting my head and smiling like an idiot at him. Zachary, you know what? I'm not like you. I'm not a genius. I have to put an insane effort just to act. When I played a nun, I stayed at a convent to meditate. When I played a feng shui master, I studied under a real spiritual master for 2 years to learn everything about the supernatural. Except for studying, I spend every second of my life acting. I don't have time to go on reality shows, shoot commercials, or chat with fans. Nobody likes me. They mock me for not being feminine enough. They say I'm probably a lesbian. They say the only reason I won Best Actress is because this era loves freaks. Women don't like me, and men hate me too. Zachary's eyes looked like a deep, bottomless ocean in the dark night. Let's make a bet. At least half of the guys who have ever met you actually like you. The way you dress and whatever you like to do is already perfect. Thanks. I know you're lying, but it feels nice. Want to bet? Whoever loses has to do one thing for the winner. Zachary grabbed my phone and started typing a message. I'm giving you a chance. If you like me, confess right now. Seeing that he was about to mass text everyone in my contacts, my alcohol buzz vanished. I scrambled to grab my phone. Bro, are you trying to ruin my social life? Do you admit defeat? He held the phone out over the rooftop railing. Even though I was tall, I was still half a head shorter than him. Even pressing against him, I couldn't reach it. I had to give in. Fine, I lose. Just tell me, bro. What do you want me to do? Marry me. But after we got the license, I realized he was just using me to handle his family. I found a diary entry where Zachary wrote that his first love had just gotten a divorce, and he wanted to get back with her. Wow. So I was just a temporary replacement this whole time. Zachary's family would never accept a divorced woman. So Zachary married me just so he could get a quick divorce, making himself a divorced man to match his first love? Even if no man liked me, I wasn't going to be that pathetic. So I took action first and demanded a divorce. Right now, Zachary still hadn't signed the divorce papers. He couldn't die yet. Otherwise, I would become a widow. So I turned off my heavy lifter mode and used my normal strength to grip his hand. But Zachary just held my hand gently. He wasn't putting any strength into it at all. Seeing that the 5-minute limit was running out, I got anxious. Do you want to die? Aren't you the one who wanted to die first? Since you value my life more than yours, stop talking about divorce. Me agreeing to keep our marriage a secret was already my biggest compromise. Before I could react, Zachary looked toward the shadow in the fog. That entity never said the winner gets to survive. This game might not be that simple. With his reminder, I realized this game really had a trick to it. It seemed designed to target human nature. There were only 3 rounds, and humans have 3 core sins. Greed, obsession with material desire. Wrath, anger, hatred, and resentment. Ignorance, inability to tell right from wrong, leading to dark thoughts. The first round looked like an intelligence test, but the questions were too simple. The people who died were all criminals driven by dark lust, which fell under ignorance. The second round seemed like a physical test, but it wasn't punishing the physically weak. It was punishing a specific sin. The 3 contestants who just died were all in a state of pure rage. That was wrath. So the point of this game wasn't about who won or lost. It was about whether you felt a murderous hatred toward your opponent while arm wrestling. Whoever let wrath take over would die. I explained my theory out loud. Zachary smiled lazily and laced his fingers tightly through mine. Tyler was standing next to me, listening closely. He repeated it loudly, Summer, you mean as long as we don't care about winning, we survive this round? His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. But many contestants snapped back, "Shut up. Don't try to mess with our heads." The fans watching the screen went into a frenzy. "Chloe, don't listen to Ice. If you lose, it's over. Ice better lose to Zachary right now. Don't be a monster." Everyone stop fighting. The police have already surrounded the school. Wait, the police said the school is completely empty. Where actually are they? Either the dark entity had cast an illusion over the police, or we were trapped in a pocket dimension it created. Or maybe both. I kept the thoughts to myself and didn't say them out loud. I had finally gained a few fans. I didn't want them thinking I was a crazy conspiracy theorist. Chloe, who was arm wrestling with Tyler, looked incredibly tense. She was probably planning to grip Tyler's wrist suddenly to catch him off guard. But Tyler ignored her completely, hovering around me and calling me sister, sister. He kept praising me for being amazing, smart, and kind, calling me the savior of Hollywood. He talked so much that Zachary got annoyed and punched his shoulder. Chloe was pacing around anxiously. She looked at her thin arms and legs, not daring to fight Tyler head-on. Finally, the sharp bell rang. 10 contestants, regardless of whether they were winning or losing, had their heads drop off like ripe melons. The dark shadow in the thick fog had extended a long, wire-thin tongue, wrapping around their necks and slicing them clean off. 15 minus 10 is equal to 5. The survivors of the second round were me, Zachary, Tyler, a completely stunned Chloe, and the comedy actress who drew number 8. She was crying hysterically out of pure relief. The shadow announced our victory and drifted out of the classroom with the thick fog. The next round should be a moral test, punishing greed. But how could any human be completely free of greed? I waited anxiously for a long time, but no new teacher came in. Tyler boldly ran to the door, looked outside, and waved at us excitedly. "The fog outside is gone. It looks like we can leave." Seeing this, Zachary's fans and Chloe's fans became incredibly united. Run fast. This school is terrifying. Thank God Chloe and Zachary are safe. I promise to go vegan for the rest of my life if Chloe and Zachary make it out safely. I actually had 2 or 3 new fans who left quiet comments. Ice, protect everyone. Zachary is relying on you. It's great that Zachary and Ice trust each other. They actually look really good together. Total power couple vibes. Good taste, Zachary muttered, praising my fan with a smirk. He grabbed my hand and led the way out of the classroom. Chapter 8. The hallways were also lined with cameras and portable TV screens. I glanced at the live comments on the screen. Just as we were about to head down the stairs, a group of teenagers walked toward us. They were wearing the exact same school uniforms as us, but their faces were very young. They were clearly real high school students. This was an abandoned school, and the crew hadn't hired any extras. "Where did these kids come from?" Tyler whispered. "I heard that 10 years ago, a famous comedian came back to his old school to give a speech. A massive crowd crush happened. 17 students and 2 teachers died." Behind the screens, the viewers broke into a cold sweat and started digging up the past. I found the old news reports. They said the staircase was rotting. A young girl got too excited seeing her favorite celebrity, broke through the railing, and the kids behind her all fell on top of each other. The celebrity giving the speech was that bald comedian who died in the second round. He used the speech as an excuse to sell his own hair growth products. After the accident, he kept blaming the kids for bringing him bad luck. He stayed quiet for 8 years before making a comeback. Oh wow, no wonder he mentioned this being his second time here. Are all the contestants in this game actually getting what they deserve? No way. Chloe, Zachary, Ice, and Tyler must be innocent. Thanks to these internet detectives, I finally understood what was happening. If we could break the resentment of these dead students, maybe we could leave alive. I turned to Chloe. 10 years ago, did Maya from our class transfer to this school? Did you hear anything from her? Chloe's face turned white. She shook her head weakly with a fake smile. She and I weren't that close. I don't know anything. Then she turned to Tyler. Tyler, stop saying the word dead. It's too scary. But I really feel like these kids look lifeless. Aren't they already dead? Tyler said the word dead a few more times anyway, then clamped onto my arm like a terrified puppy. Sister, protect me. Zachary grabbed his collar and tossed him aside. Go find your own wife to protect you. A random group of shippers suddenly popped up in the chat. Which couple should we ship? The top actor and the actress? The singer and the actress? Or the two guys? I couldn't help but cough. Stop making combinations. We are trying to survive a horror movie, not broadcasting a dating show. Seeing that the shippers weren't mentioning her, Chloe immediately started crying out in pain. Can someone help me? I think I sprained my ankle. But the next second, she turned around and ran toward the opposite end of the hallway, rushing down the stairs faster than anyone. The strange kids, triggered by Tyler constantly saying the word dead, reverted to their horrific states from the accident. They fused together into a massive, multi-limbed, multi-headed monster ball, rolling down the hallway right toward us. Seeing there was nowhere to hide, I remembered a horror movie I once acted in and switched into spiritual master mode. I ripped off my flat shoe, slammed it directly into the main head of the monster, and chanted loudly, "Materialism reveals the true nature of reality, connects all things, and guides us to analyze and solve all problems." The moment the shoe hit the ghost's head, it made a loud sizzling sound like meat on a grill. All the faces on the monster started smoking, their features twisting in agony. Their limbs stretched out stiffly as they writhed in pain. The chat went wild. The terrified viewers left, replaced by occult fans. Aren't you supposed to use a wooden sword to fight ghosts? Shouldn't she be chanting holy spells or ancient prayers? Tyler explained to the camera, spells only work if you believe in them. Words are just tools. The important thing is absolute mental focus. Zachary grew more annoyed, clapping a hand over Tyler's mouth. What do you know? Science and logic are the ultimate philosophies. Before he could finish, I screamed so loud he let go. Run. I forgot the rest of the text. The monster violently exploded, collapsing in front of us. But the individual spirits that broke apart looked even more aggressive. They used their hands as feet, sprinting across the floor. Zachary quickly grabbed my hand, turned around, and copied Chloe, sprinting down the other staircase. Tyler stumbled behind us. Sister, wait for me. The three of us were tall with long legs, and we blew past Chloe in seconds, reaching the second floor. Chloe, seeing that the spirits were about to catch her, reached out and grabbed the comedy actress's hair, throwing her violently backward. The spirits immediately swarmed over the actress, burying her completely. Then they fused back into the massive monster ball, rolling down the stairs toward us. Seeing that the monster ball was about to crush me, Zachary threw himself into me, knocking me aside. The monster ball bounced off a step, rolling in the opposite direction. Because it was so massive, turning around took it some time. I used that second to scramble up, dragging Zachary with me as we burst straight into the girls' bathroom. Chapter 9. Just as we were about to slam the door, Tyler and Chloe squeezed inside, gasping for breath. The monster ball slammed against the door outside, eventually shattering the wood completely. Right then, the speakers in the hallway crackled with static, and the shadow from the second round spoke again. The third game is cleaning duty. Each contestant must work with 3 students to clean a bathroom stall. Anyone who fails to clean it within 10 minutes will be executed. The monster ball broke apart into individual kids again. Their lips were completely gone, exposing their jaws, but they still flashed terrifying, hollow grins. They formed teams of 3, holding mops, rags, and buckets, trapping the 4 of us. So this was a moral test about hard work? And the sin it punished was greed? I knew plenty of celebrities went on farming shows to look hardworking, but they did it voluntarily to look good. I was being forced by literal demons. I'm sorry, Barbara. I can't save my career. I'm quitting the industry right after this. A spirit wearing old sneakers grabbed a bucket of filthy water and splashed it all over the stall Chloe was supposed to clean. Chloe stepped back in terror. But when she saw the spirit's exposed bones poking through the holes in its shoes, a violent, malicious light suddenly filled her eyes. She rushed forward, grabbed the spirit, and started slapping its face violently. Then she kicked it to the ground, stomping on its face repeatedly, while keeping her voice incredibly sweet and delicate. The contrast was pure horror. When you were alive, didn't you love acting like my obedient dog? Why aren't you listening to me now that you're dead? Your style and clothes were always so trashy. How dare you seduce my first boyfriend and make him say you were pretty? Your death had absolutely nothing to do with me. You chose to transfer schools, you chose to watch that bald idiot's speech, you chose to break through the railing like a fool. You are the one who killed your classmates. Why are you blaming me? I stared closely at the spirit's shoes and remembered Maya used to have the exact same pair. Maya had transferred to our class from the countryside during our freshman year. She was quiet and pretty, and she always sat by the window alone. She used to listen to comedy sketches on her phone, a soft smile on her face. Later, Chloe said she wanted to be her best friend, and the two became inseparable. The day before midterms, I walked into the bathroom and found Maya completely soaked. I asked her if she needed help. Maya pushed up her glasses, quickly pulling down her sleeves to hide the dark bruises and cigarette burns on her arms. She kept stepping backward. That was when I noticed her shoes had holes cleanly cut into them with scissors, exposing her purple, freezing toes. Are you sure you don't need me to do anything? Chloe had walked in holding a jacket, draping it over Maya's shoulders while smiling and waving at me. Hey, Summer. We're preparing for drama school auditions. We're practicing a scene. Doesn't she look exactly like a bullying victim? Yes, Maya had said, her eyes darting away anxiously as she looked down, water dripping from her hair onto the floor. I didn't feel right pushing further, so I left the bathroom and warned a teacher. I didn't expect Maya to transfer schools a month later. And I definitely didn't expect her to die in that crowd crush at her new school. Why aren't you fighting back, babe? Chloe whispered gently to the spirit of Maya under her foot. 10 years ago, you thought the cameras and teachers would save you. Too bad you didn't know my dad owned the school board. And today, I am the main investor of this survival show. There are no cameras here. Nobody can see us. Yes, there are, I said, unable to watch any longer. I walked over, pulled Chloe away, and pointed to the corner of the ceiling. Zachary rubbed his chin. So this was the surprise twist the production crew talked about? Exactly. Except for inside the actual stalls, every single corner of this bathroom has a hidden camera, Tyler said, pushing away the 2 spirits holding him. He ran out of the bathroom and rolled a portable TV screen inside a moment later. The screen showed a massive, crystal-clear close-up of Chloe's terrified, monstrous expression. Chapter 10. Her hardcore fans had already left the live stream in total silence. Her casual fans were devastated, leaving comments saying they would never look at a celebrity the same way again. Ex-fans immediately started leaking all the dirt they had previously helped cover up, confirming a massive wave of toxic behavior. Tax evasion, severe bullying. Chloe screamed in rage, shoving me aside. She kicked the TV screen over, grabbing a mop to smash it into pieces, before knocking the camera off the ceiling. Outside, the loud sirens of police cars finally echoed. The dark entity was running out of power, losing control over the pocket dimension. Chloe started laughing maniacally. The police are going to find me any second. Maya, you can't ruin me. The law protects the rich and punishes the poor. With a little bit of money, I can completely flip the narrative. At worst, I'll stop acting and become a full-time producer behind the scenes. But what about you? Even as a ghost, you're nothing but trash. You shouldn't be so absolute. Life has a way of changing when you least expect it, Tyler interrupted, pointing to a countdown timer on the remaining TV screen. You better hurry up and clean. Time is almost up. I immediately shoved a mop into Zachary's hands, telling him to get to work. His stall wasn't dirty, so he just had to fake it. But my stall was an absolute nightmare. The filthy water Maya had poured was leaking inside, and no matter how much I mopped, it wouldn't come clean. Seeing the countdown drop to the final 3 seconds, Zachary suddenly grabbed me and threw me into his clean stall. He slammed the door shut, blocking it firmly with his back so I couldn't get out. Summer, stay alive. Forget about me. Was he trying to give me his passing score? Zachary? Aren't you going to look for your first love? You're just giving up your life like this? What first love? Your diary. Those were notes I took while studying a script. You didn't even read the whole thing? Is that why you wanted a divorce? A bitter laugh came through the door. You put yourself through insane real-life experiences to play a role, and I study the script by writing character diaries every single day. The final bell rang. A deep voice boomed through the speakers, Chloe, eliminated. Through the crack in the door, I saw the dead contestants gathering outside the bathroom. They stretched their arms out into long, rope-like tentacles, grabbing Chloe's arms and legs. What are you doing? Get off me. The police are here. Help. Chloe screamed and thrashed violently, but it was completely useless. Zachary wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he let out a relaxed laugh. Goodbye, Summer. I don't have long anyway. Saving you is a better deal. That was when I noticed that while protecting me earlier, his back had been severely clawed by the monster ball. Through his ripped shirt, I could see the wound turning pitch black and rotting. I instantly switched into heavy lifter mode, bursting through the stall door and knocking him straight across the room against the opposite wall. At that exact moment, a loud dog bark echoed outside. A massive, furry creature ran right through the spirits, completely ignoring Chloe and Tyler, and leaped straight into my arms. It was my dog. Since ancient times, dogs have always been the ultimate weapon against evil spirits. Plus, my dog had a strange marking between his eyes that looked like a third eye. In a flash, everyone else in the bathroom vanished, leaving only me and Zachary. This game was punishing greed. Chloe's obsession with controlling her first boyfriend and dominating everyone else was her sin. It had absolutely nothing to do with us. I patted my dog's back, then dragged Zachary up and slapped his back hard. I told you to mop just because I think if you take an exam, you should finish it. A cloud of black smoke exploded from his wound, and his skin instantly healed, returning to normal. Zachary turned around, looking at me in utter shock. You're this powerful? And here I was losing my mind worrying about you, begging Barbara to get me onto this show. Wait, when you fought that monster ball earlier, you weren't actually. I pressed a finger against his lips to silence him, asking seriously, Zachary, do you think people only get punished by human laws? Zachary stayed quiet for a second, then said with total survival instinct, some people aren't even human. Our values line up perfectly, I nodded, then shook my head. But I'm still annoyed about one thing. Why did you make up an excuse when you were trying to protect me? Why couldn't you just say you love me? Zachary's ears turned bright red. We were about to die. Saying that would just make you feel guilty and miserable for the rest of your life. Well, you're not dying now. I'm giving you a chance to say it again. But before he could speak, I couldn't wait any longer. 10 years ago, that boy had completely stolen my heart. Even when I forced myself to keep my distance, even when I told myself we were just friends, even when I filed for divorce, I couldn't suppress it. Now, he was right in front of me. I reached out, wrapped my arms around his neck, and kissed the man I had been dreaming about for a decade. Thank you for helping me get through my career crisis. Thank you for keeping me grounded when I felt like I was falling apart. Thank you for marrying me and making my secret crush come true. Thank you for caring enough to stay with me until the absolute end, even in the face of death. Zachary froze. The next second, ignoring my dog's annoyed whines and the cops and reporters bursting through the door, he kissed me back fiercely. I had never done a live kiss scene before, let alone a real one. With dozens of cameras flashing at us, my face turned bright red. The moment I pushed him away, he cupped my face and pulled me right back in. After what felt like forever, Zachary wiped his lips, looked straight at the cameras and the stunned crowd, and flashed a brilliant, charming smile. Yes, we've been married for a long time. And we are never getting a divorce. Chapter 11. After the survival show ended, the police found Chloe and the other missing contestants near the old protective seal stone on the mountain behind the school. Surprisingly, they were all alive. But their personalities had completely changed, their memories were totally scrambled, and they spoke and acted like 10-year-old children. I had a good guess as to what happened, but to be sure, I asked Barbara to help me get in touch with Chloe. Chloe agreed to meet me at a small, quiet coffee shop on a street corner. The shop could only hold about 10 people. The decor and drinks were completely basic. It wasn't Chloe's style at all. Even less like her style was the fact that she had voluntarily paid all her back taxes, held a massive press conference to apologize to her fans and everyone she had ever bullied, and announced her permanent retirement from showbiz. When I walked into the shop, Chloe was already sitting by the window. She opened her phone, clicked on a comedy video, and a soft smile appeared on her face. Sensing that I was watching her, she quickly shut her phone, instinctively pulling her feet back to hide a pair of brand new sneakers. "Summer, what do you want?" "Just confirming something." "Then I'll leave." I sat across from her and took a sip of water. "The day we shot the show, did you get out on your own, or did that guy bring you out?" Chloe gasped, looking away anxiously, her hand moving to her nose. "What are you talking about?" "I don't know what you mean." "It was Tyler. He planned the whole thing, right? He's a good person. He calls you sister, doesn't he? You won't hurt him, right?" Chloe defended him quickly, then bit her lip in a panic. But her reaction gave me the final piece of the puzzle to figure out the truth behind the survival game. "Don't worry. I have no bad intentions toward him or any of you. I won't say a word. Because those people didn't deserve their lives anymore anyway." I smiled, standing up to leave, then added quietly, "Your style and clothes aren't trashy. Nothing justifies bullying. Someone told me that just being yourself is already perfect." Chloe froze for a long time before whispering, "Thank you, Summer." This time, she really didn't need my help anymore. Chapter 12. Zachary was wearing an apron, cooking dinner in my kitchen. Hearing me come home, he immediately put down the spatula and ran out holding his phone. "Summer, did you see this news? Tyler claims he never even participated in that survival show, and he has video proof of himself vacationing overseas at the exact same time." He looked completely confused. "What is going on with him? And what about those other contestants?" The audience literally saw them. I dragged him down onto the couch, messing up his hair the way I mess with my dog. Beg me, and I'll tell you. He narrowed his eyes, ripped off his apron, threw his phone aside, and pinned me down. An hour and a half later, I called Barbara and asked her to drive me and Zachary to the mountain behind the school. At the site of the ancient protective stone, I dug up several glowing shards and showed them to Zachary. The shards were a shimmering metallic blue, the exact same material as Tyler's signature earrings. This stone absorbed natural energy for thousands of years in a place full of human life, allowing it to develop a spirit. The production crew didn't release an evil spirit when they broke it. They released the guardian spirit of the stone itself. It disguised itself as Tyler, summoned the ghosts of the dead kids, and forced our spirits to experience those 3 death games together. Zachary half understood. So the mountain spirit used the dead students' souls to get revenge? The exact opposite. They did it to protect other kids. If it was just revenge, they only needed to target Chloe and the bald comedian. There was no need to judge the other celebrities, right? I sighed. Those kids had nothing but studying in their lives. It was exhausting. So they looked up to these glamorous celebrities for happiness. But some celebrities only care about their fake public image, acting like monsters behind closed doors. They even used the kids' innocence and devotion to commit unforgivable acts. The mountain spirit spent so much time at the school that it grew to love the kids. It wanted to clean out the pests that might threaten other children. To put it simply, the mountain spirit used the ghosts to clean up the entertainment industry. The leaves on the mountain rustled loudly in the night wind, as if agreeing with me. The sound was identical to the voice of the young boy who had smiled and called me sister during the show. Zachary wrapped his arm around my shoulder, comforting me gently. No wonder you don't want to do anything except act. Managing a fake image sounds exhausting. Well, that wasn't entirely true anymore. I occasionally did live streams now, but my fans were completely different from everyone else's. Ice, please read a chapter of a philosophy textbook today. The way you beat that ghost was epic. You are my absolute idol, Ice. Bless me so I can pass my law exam. Sister, can you help me guess the questions for my finals? Talking to them about philosophy felt incredibly relaxing and natural. Barbara, on the other hand, didn't care about my image or popularity anymore. She swallowed hard, her eyes filled with resentment. So that survival show was just an illusion created by the spirit? Those monsters are still alive? And living well? Did you talk to Chloe? Some people look the same on the outside, but their souls are completely different now. The two of you might actually find something in common to talk about. I patted Barbara's shoulder, grabbed Zachary, and turned to walk down the mountain, leaving her frozen in shock. Barbara, or should I say, Maya's sister? You don't need to be my manager anymore. I had asked the prop crew. It was Barbara who suggested breaking the ancient stone. Later, I checked her records and found out she was Maya's biological older sister. She thought I was just a silent bystander during Maya's bullying, contributing to Chloe's arrogance through my silence. That was why she wanted to unleash the entities to finish off both me and Chloe, right? But because of this, Zachary and I cleared up our misunderstanding and ended up together, so I wasn't going to hold a grudge. From now on, we would go our separate ways, with no need to ever speak again. Zachary guessed hesitantly, did the dead students take over the bodies of those contestants? Yeah, I looked down at the bright city lights below the mountain. The fame and success we spent our entire lives chasing looked tiny from this angle, like children's toys. Some people escape human laws, but they can't escape the laws of nature. If you try to live off greed your entire life, you'll eventually lose your own soul, leaving nothing behind. Zachary sighed in amazement. How do you know everything? You're incredible. You have to teach me from now on, Professor Summer. That was because the very first second I saw Tyler, I knew he wasn't human. And I tested Chloe afterward. The current Chloe was completely obsessed with her shoes, and her body language looked exactly like Maya from back then. She clearly wasn't the original version. Those who couldn't be punished by human rules were replaced by non-human forces. It seemed like a punishment far worse than death. But I didn't want to tell Zachary too much, or he'd respect me a little too much. Even a powerful, shape-shifting master sometimes just wanted to be a regular girl in love. I stood on my toes, rubbing my face against Zachary's cheek, blinking cutely. "You're too kind, Zachary. Actually, there are plenty of things I don't know." "Like what? When exactly did you start liking me?" Asked about his absolute area of expertise, Zachary finally found his confidence. He flashed a slightly playful smirk. "Kiss me, beg me, and I'll tell you." But before I could move, he was already the one leaning in. Text.